Drive-In's midnight show. Double feature.
Well, hello, my little wicked ones, and welcome back to Mortem Manor. I am your hostess, Eulogy Mortem, and you are here for the Mad Monster Cinema. Now, I've got a special event tonight. That's right. It's spring break, so we're going to go to the drive-in. Now, I'm not going to tell you any more about it. I'll talk to you about it in the car. So come on, let's go jump in the car right after this station break, and I'll tell you more about tonight's drive-in double feature. You know, it's been quite some time since I've been to the drive-in. I mean, the last time that Hewitt and I decided to come to this particular drive-in, we came to see the movie Constipation, but it never came out. So, anyway, tonight we are going to be seeing a double feature. We're going to start out with the amazing Colossal Man. And I can't wait to see what's so damn amazing and colossal about him. Okay? Now, just as soon as that one's over, we're going to have a brief intermission, and then we're going to take a look at Fiend without a face. You know, I always thought that was a fart. But I guess we'll find out that it's something different. All right, we should be pulling into the drive-in right about now. Let's go ahead and dive into our first feature this evening, the amazing Colossal Man.
It is our pleasure to welcome you to Skyline. For the information of those who are attending a drive-in theater for the first time, the following hints will make you feel at home and add to your enjoyment. Firstly, if you've not already done so, remove the speaker from its stand and place it within the car. Secondly, adjust the volume control to right for loud, left for soft. The mobile snack bar service, flick down switch on right. We must issue this warning. No attempt should be made to disconnect the speaker. To do so, we'll immediately register on a red light on our control panel. The Skyline caters for every member of the family. Let the children enjoy themselves in the playground. And everybody will want to visit the snack bar, where appetizing food and drinks are always available. And the barbecue for that luscious, juicy steak. One final word. When the performance ends, and before moving, replace the speaker on its stand. You then drive forward, and you move to the right. You must never reverse out of your position. Thank you, everyone. We trust you have a pleasant evening.
She's a girl who loved a man. A man who, in a flash, became a living threat to humanity. A danger so awe-inspiring that they tried to hide his existence from the world.
What happened? What made him grow?
Glenn Manning is growing from 8 to 10 feet a day. At the moment, he's 18 feet tall. Tomorrow, he'll be 26 feet. The next day, 35, maybe 40, and the next day...
But you've got to stop it.
I don't want to grow anymore. Day and night, scientists search, trying every experiment their brilliant minds can conceive, finding the expected, the unexpected, and the shocking. For the immeasurable power of this ever-growing mammoth portends a fate that terrifies the universe.
Drive it in hard. We have to penetrate the bone in the first ejection. Ready?
Look out, he's reaching down.
We want to help you to get well.
Manning's disappeared, Eric. We can't find him anywhere on the grounds.
Police Chief Benson has asked me to tell you to stay in your homes. Stay in your homes.
A man once loved by a woman, now feared by the whole world.
A 60-foot giant in the streets of Las Vegas.
Now you all know why we're here. We've had 4 deaths. The cause of these deaths is still unknown.
We are equally at a loss to give an answer, and equally disturbed. Now, there's been some talk of a mad GI on the prowl.
Okay, fellas, you spread out again.
Well, this, I can assure you, is not true.
Gibbons, where are you?
We've got to find out how those people died.
The entire spinal cord is missing.
The brain, it's gone.
Sucked out like an egg through those 2 holes.
Major Cummings. I'd like to introduce Miss Barbara Griselle.
Oh, are you correlating his material?
I do most of it.
The professor must be quite a guy. Thought control, cybernetics, all that stuff. Well, this is the 4th death in the space of a few days. We're turning the townsfolk against us at the base.
Wyatt, let's get him. All right, now, let's go.
Of course, the very secrecy of your activities doesn't help. This development of radar boosted by atomic power. That business of her brother, she was devoted to him. Did you see his face after he died?
I want you to give me all the information you can on our Professor Walgate. His background, his training. I think Professor Walgate is involved in these deaths.
Anybody out there? I'm locked in here.
What were you doing in the cemetery tonight, Professor?
I don't like the sound of all this. You wait there. I'll be over right away.
Where are they and why can't we see them? We've got to stop them. What's wrong with your telephone?
Nothing should be the matter unless they've got enough intelligence to cut the line. We're facing a new form of life. I believe it feeds on the radiation from your atomic plant, and that it's evil.
Minutes till showtime. Why not add to your enjoyment with a delicious confection and drink at our attractive refreshment stand? minutes till showtime. Tempt your taste with the wide variety of mouth-watering snacks available at popular prices at our refreshment stand. Minute till showtime. Satisfy yourself with a thirst-quenching drink. Your favorite beverage awaits you at our refreshment stand. The show is about to start, folks, but the refreshment stand will remain open for your pleasure.
Time is 2:45 a.m., 2 hours and 15 minutes before time zero. At time zero, a new type of atomic explosion, a plutonium bomb, will be detonated at Desert Rock, Nevada. These soldiers are to experience the plutonium explosion under simulated combat conditions.
Attention! Attention! All personnel! The time is 0 minus 30 seconds. The time is 0 minus 30 seconds. The plutonium explosion will take place at time 0. I repeat, the plutonium explosion will take place at time 0. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. repeat, do not leave your positions. The plutonium bomb has been triggered and can explode at any moment.
The chain reaction did not complete its cycle as calculated. Keep your dark glasses on and stay where you are. I see. Right.
How does it look, Colonel?
I'm not sure.
How could a thing like this happen? They've set off lots of these bombs before.
Not a plutonium bomb, they haven't. This is the first one.
Sir, can't we leave? Can't we get out of here?
No, Sergeant. You've got to wait until the chain reaction dampens or reaches a point of explosion. It could go off in a second, a minute, 10 minutes, maybe not at all. Just have to wait it out.
Can we smoke, sir?
Sure. But keep hugging that trench wall closest to the bomb position. There won't be any warning when it goes.
Colonel.
Huh?
Listen.
That sounds like a plane. Control. There's a light civilian plane coming in at 190 degrees. Appears to be in trouble.
Ground to pilot. Ground to pilot. This is Control. Can you read me?
Still coming in.
Ground to pilot. You are flying over an atomic detonation area. You are flying over a restricted area. Change your heading 180 degrees.
Losing altitude fast. He's going down.
Was he killed?
I can't tell. He could be unconscious inside the plane.
Colonel, that bomb could go off any second.
Control, that pilot could be alive. What about the bomb?
It's still activated, Colonel. Once the chain reaction has been triggered, there's nothing we can do to stop it.
But there's a man in that plane.
We're helpless, Colonel.
Colonel, no!
Colonel Manning, this is General Mortem. I order you to return to your trench.
Get the mechanics waste ready. Another unit of blood, please.
A unit of blood, please.
Nurse. How is he?
Where have they got Colonel Manning that was in an accident? They've got him over in surgery there, sir. You brought him out yet? They don't hold much hope for him. It was quite a mess when they got to him. Couldn't even find the plane or the pilot he was trying to save. You know, I was there covering the test for National News Service. Never seen anything like it. I've seen plenty.
Please,
You a friend of his?
his fiancée.
Gosh, I'm sorry. What a fool. Please, can I do something for you? Get you something? How long have you known Colonel Manning? Maybe if you talked about him, it'd help.
You said you were there when it happened. Was he conscious when they reached him? I mean, was there much pain? He's been in a coma since he got to the hospital.
I don't think he knew anything when that blast hit him. It was terrible. You know, they had the whole thing on film. There were 18 cameras embedded in concrete to shoot every phase of the explosion.
Third-degree burns on almost 100% of the body's surface, and the man still lives. Unbelievable. By all the rules, he should be dead.
We were to be married tonight in Las Vegas. We met in the funniest way. Our cars locked bumpers at a busy intersection in Chicago. He was stationed nearby at Fort Sheridan. He got so mad. He still ribs me about my driving. Glenn is such a wonderful man. He doesn't deserve a break like this. Why did this have to happen to him?
Things like this just happen. There doesn't have to be a reason.
He must have protected his eyes with his arm. He apparently covered them when the blast hit. That's one bit of luck.
Luck? This man's luck ran out long ago. He'll die of shock before morning, and if that doesn't do it, infection will. I'll be sure he gets penicillin and cortisone around the clock. Although I think it's useless.
There's always a chance.
What kind of chance do you give to a man who hasn't a square inch of skin left on his body? He's already lost enough body fluid to be fatal.
Well, we've done all we can do. Now we'll just have to wait. Now keep the room temperature at 80 degrees. I'm on a constant check on his pulse, hour by hour.
Right.
Will he be all right, Doctor?
Are you Carol? Your name was the only word he spoke.
Is he?
He's still alive.
He will be all right.
I don't know. I wish I could give you some hope.
Doctor, and plasma continuously.
Scissors, please.
Develop new skin. How's it possible?
Yesterday, this was dead tissue. And today, there isn't even a scar.
What do you make of it, Paul?
When skin is burned to the degree that it was on this man's body, it just doesn't grow back.
So what's the answer?
I don't know.
Skin. It's not burned. Why, he's going to be all right, isn't he?
And since you played a major role in the development of the plutonium bomb, Mr. Kingman, we hope that you may be able to help us to understand or to learn how Colonel Glenn Manning survived the blast.
I brought you the film taken during the explosion, but I don't see what can be learned from it, as far as your patient is concerned. The accident was unfortunate, very unfortunate. What more can be said?
There are two answers that we're looking for. Now, the first is how Glenn Manning was able to survive the explosion.
Chance. It just happened that conditions were such that he was afforded a certain amount of protection.
What explanation would you give for the new skin that has grown on this man in a matter of hours?
What possible connection could there be to the bomb? A man survives an explosion, a plutonium explosion. And then, for some reason or other, his skin heals more rapidly than usual. What is the mystery, gentlemen?
Mr. Kingman, when 60 or 70% of a person's body is burned, he doesn't have much chance for survival. Now, if he should live, the skin that was destroyed does not grow back. It remains dead scar tissue. When a man suffers over a 95% body burn and less than a day later looks normal, I'd say there was a mystery.
And you feel that the plutonium may have some unknown quality that is responsible?
It's worth every effort to know. Now, I'll admit that you may be right. The plutonium possibly had nothing to do with it. There may be nothing more to this than a freak of nature. But if there is something to it, think of what it'll mean to medical science to have such a regenerative or healing power under its control.
Shall we view the film? Like many of the atom tests, we built a model town to see how it reacted to the explosion. The protected cameras, such as this one, recorded the experiment. Watch this building when the heat of the explosion reaches it. There. Now the force of the blast. Here's another building. First burned, and then disintegrated. There's Manning. This was seconds before the explosion. The fact that Glenn Manning lived after the blast and that new skin completely replaced the burned dead tissue in a matter of hours leaves only one conclusion. Something out there is beyond the limits of our knowledge.
Yes?
Miss Carol Forrest?
Yes?
I'm Lieutenant Klein, attached to security at the Nevada testing grounds. May I talk with you for a moment?
Has Colonel Manning... Has something happened?
No, at least not that I know of. However, as security officer attached to Colonel Manning, I've been sent to tell you, you won't be able to visit the Colonel at the hospital for a while.
But why?
Security reasons, ma'am. I wish I could tell you more, but, well, I really don't know anymore.
I don't understand. What possible reason could there be to keep me from seeing him?
Well, I was with the Colonel at the time of the accident, ma'am. I wish I could help you. I'm only carrying out orders.
But he is getting well.
Well, I'm sorry. You'll have to wait until security is lifted.
All right. Thank you, Lieutenant.
Good night, ma'am.
Good night. Excuse me. Could you tell me where they've taken Colonel Manning?
I'm sorry, miss. I never heard of Colonel Manning.
But you must have heard something about him.
I'm sorry, miss.
Excuse me. My name is Carol Forrest. I'm Colonel Glenn Manning's fiancée.
Yes?
I was looking for Colonel Manning.
There's no visiting until 2 p.m. in the afternoon, Miss Forrest.
I know that. And I also know that Colonel Manning is no longer in his room on the second floor. Where have they taken him?
There's no Colonel Manning listed here. There's another hospital near Barstow. Perhaps you've made a mistake.
I haven't made a mistake. I know Colonel Manning was here, and I insist on being told what you've done with him. I'd like to speak to the head of the hospital, please.
He'll be back the day after tomorrow, so if you'd care to return.
Where can I find Dr. Lindstrom? Don't tell me you've never heard of him.
Oh, you mean Dr. Lindstrom from Rochester?
That's right.
Well, he was only here for a few days, called in on a special case.
Did he return to Rochester?
We wouldn't have that information. Sorry. Yes, sir.
Come in, please.
Yes, sir. Excuse me.
I'm afraid you can't go any farther, miss. This is government property.
Is this the road to the hospital?
Yes, ma'am.
I've come to see Colonel Glenn Manning. I believe he's a patient here.
Well, there are no patients here, ma'am. Not since the war ended.
Please, I've come a long way to see him.
Oh. Just a minute. I'll phone the sergeant. The sergeant will see you. Now, you stay on this road about a quarter of a mile and you can't miss it. You'll find the sergeant just inside the main entrance.
Oh, thank you.
Dr. Lindstrom. Dr. Lindstrom, report to laboratory.
Can I help you, miss?
I'm looking for an Army officer who I believe was transferred here.
Oh, what's his name, ma'am?
Colonel Glenn Manning.
Colonel Manning. No Colonel Manning here, ma'am.
Oh, I see. Thank you, Sergeant. I was told that he might be here. Obviously, the party was mistaken.
Sorry, I couldn't help you, miss. The guard will let you out the gate.
Thank you.
Hated to disturb you, Paul, but I thought you ought to see him.
Has he had his intravenous feeding?
Yes.
How's his respiration?
Rapid.
I can't understand it. Give me a stethoscope, Eric. He's breathing much more rapidly now.
Changes every hour. Never received.
It's understandable.
Wish he'd snap out of it. Been unconscious since the accident.
Now keep the room temperature at 80 degrees. I want a constant check on his pulse, hour by hour.
Right.
Many reasons why we didn't let you in on Colonel Manning's condition, Miss Forrest. Primary being that Washington gave the strictest orders that he be isolated. Now, for obvious reasons, they ordered a security restriction over the whole affair.
I want to help. Is there something I can do?
We're doing everything that can be done, Miss Forrest.
What happened? What made him grow?
Glenn Manning is growing from 8 to 10 feet a day. At the moment, he's 18 feet tall. Tomorrow, he'll be 26 feet. The next day, 35, maybe 40, and the next day...
But you've got to stop it.
Miss Forrest, we're trying. Believe me, we're trying. Let me explain it to you. Now, as you probably already know, the body is like a factory. It's continually producing new cells to replace the older cells, damaged cells or destroyed cells. Now, this happens in all the different parts of the body. Bone cells grow new bone cells. Skin cells grow new skin cells, and so on, throughout the body. Now, here, let me show you. This is an example of bone growth. Now, the broken bone shown in this X-ray became the healed bone shown in this X-ray by means of bone cell growth. Now, notice that the new cells join the broken bone together so that you no longer see any break. Now, a cut, say in your hand, heals in the same way, with new cells replacing the damaged ones.
It is this delicately balanced process of new cells replacing dying cells or damaged cells that is causing the growth problem with Glenn.
But how can this make his whole body grow?
The process is out of balance. For some unknown reason, new cells are growing at an accelerated or speeded up rate, while at the same time, the old cells are refusing to die. This is what makes Glenn grow. That's what made the new skin.
Then if you can stop this from happening...
We can stop his growth.
And if you can't?
Then Glenn Manning will continue to grow until he dies.
There was no reason for you to volunteer. You should have waited until you were called.
Honey, I'm in the reserves. They'd have called me eventually anyway.
But it just isn't fair. You were just getting started. You've got your future to think about.
I am thinking about it. Thinking about yours, too. Darling, we're going to get married just as soon as the thing's over. It can't last long. Honey, will you please stop worrying?
When you're safe at home, then I'll stop worrying.
I guess they've stopped.
Yeah. You all right, Carter?
Yeah, sure. That last one was close.
How are the rest?
Oh, not so good. Lieutenant, look out!
How soon will the tent arrive?
It's being flown in from Circus Winter Quarters in Florida. Should be here any time now.
Well, he's already outgrown his room, you know. Well, as soon as you get the tent up, we'll break out the wall and move him.
Right.
Dr. Lindstrom?
The reason I sent for you was that Manning regained consciousness during the night. Now, at the moment, he's suffering from the shock of learning about his condition. He won't talk to anyone.
Oh, please, may I see him? I know he'll talk to me.
See him, by all means. You know, psychologically, you may do him a lot of good. I want you to move quietly and unemotionally. You know, at his size, he's capable of pulling these walls apart. His height was over 22 feet this morning.
I understand. Glenn? Glenn? Won't you talk to me? They'll be able to help you. I know they will. The doctors are working night and day to find a cure for you, and they're very hopeful. Why, they're flying in Dr. Mayer from Sweden. He's one of the greatest specialists of cellular research in medicine. What else can I say to help you, Glenn?
What sin could a man commit in a single lifetime to bring this upon himself?
Hey, Bud. What's with this meat order they called in? I thought the Army hauled in its own stuff.
Come on, move on. All food deliveries are made to the stock room behind the kitchen. You'll find it at the far side of the main building.
25 sides of beef. Who's going to eat it all? They haven't had any patients out here since the war ended. You fellas must eat pretty well.
We'll invite you to dinner so you can help us. Now move this truck out of here.
And what's the tent for? Something's going on out here that's mighty funny.
We're going to have a circus every Saturday.
Oh, now, come on, General. Let me in on the big secret. I won't breathe it to a soul.
All right. If I tell you, will you move this truck?
Right.
It's for him.
For who?
The giant.
What giant?
The 30-foot one we got living here.
Sure you have.
Now to swing away from the seamy side of the news. Many people are asking what happened to Colonel Glenn Manning, the Army officer who was exposed to the rays of the plutonium bomb at Desert Rock, Nevada, a few days ago. Eyewitnesses of the incident state that to all accounts he should have died in the blast. Is he alive or dead? What's all the mystery for, Washington? Here in Las Vegas,
Nothing yet. Let's give him double the amount.
Let's try it.
Paul, would you mind if I tried something on my own?
What is it?
I'd like to attempt a practical application of the cellular theory we discussed yesterday.
Fine. By the way, where's Manning?
It's out with Carol.
You know, he shouldn't be permitted to walk around. He should be confined.
Fine. You know what he weighed this morning? 2,987 pounds.
Let's see, 5 hours, which should make him over 30 feet tall.
You know, it's funny, Carol. I was sitting here like this on the hillside, away from people and things. It's very funny. It reminds me of that picnic that we took once. See, that was You know, time has lost all perspective. It's been a lifetime since that explosion. Everything that happened before seems another world, another life.
That was a wonderful time.
What'd you say, Carol? Before I became a monster? You see, I don't mind a bit.
You shouldn't.
I shouldn't what? Talk about it, think about it? Do you realize that every breath I take, every movement, everything reminds me of what happened? Even when I try to sleep at night, close my eyes so I won't see people in the world getting smaller every minute. The beating of my heart keeps getting louder and louder, reminding me. I should never have lived through that blast.
You're alive, Glenn, and as long as you are, there's always hope.
You know what they wrote about me in the college yearbook? The man most likely to reach the top.
Everything's going to be all right. I know it is. The doctors are working night and day to find a cure. They feel that if they can stop your growth, they may be able to bring you back to normal.
You don't really believe that. They'll never find a cure for me.
Are you all right? Shall I go for Dr. Lindstrom?
I'm all right. I'm all right. I just don't want to grow anymore. I don't want to grow anymore!
It's not going so well, is it? Doesn't he have any relatives?
There's no one. He's all alone except for me.
Carol, do you mind if I spoke bluntly? It's no good for you to be here.
Well, who has more right?
Well, in this case, I feel the right can be wrong. At first, I thought it might do him good to have you near. And of course, the government insisted that you stay. However, I'm going to recommend the security be lifted in your case.
How can you ask me to turn my back on the only person who's ever meant anything to me? Why, I've got to be here to try to help him get well.
Suppose that he doesn't get well. Drive back to the laboratory. There's something I want to show you.
I brought your dinner, sir.
What's new in the paper, Sergeant?
It's about you, sir.
Let's have it. Man lives through plutonium blast. That's a great joke, isn't it, Sergeant? They call this living. All right, Sergeant. Why don't you ask me what it feels like to be a freak?
Please, sir,
I'll tell you. This is how it feels to be so big you can stick your fist through a circus top. Like a clown. Who else but a clown would have an expandable sarong like this, you know? It's adjustable. I can grow to be 100 feet tall, and I don't need a change of wardrobe. Army ingenuity.
Sir, may I leave?
Why? You want to go back to your quarters and tell your friends about the monster? About the circus freak? Well, that's right, Sergeant. I'm a circus freak. Have a tent. We'll travel. Why don't you make me up a sign saying, "See the amazing Colossal Man"? That was it, wasn't it, Sergeant? You do think I'm a freak, don't you? But you want to know something? With me, it's different. I think you're the freak. I think you're the one that's different. I'm not growing. You're shrinking.
And I feel that if you understand the circumstances more thoroughly, you will realize why it'll be better for you to leave. Now, this is a step-by-step illustration of Glenn's circulatory system in relationship to his growth. Now, this illustration represents Glenn shortly after the accident. And this one is of Glenn as of a few hours ago. Now, if you will look closely at each one, you will notice that all the parts are enlarging at the same ratio, except for the heart. Now, here. When it was of normal size, the heart measured approximately the size of the distance from his nose to his chin. However, at the size he is now, the heart measures the same as the distance from his lips to his chin. In other words, the heart has increased 1/2 as much as the other parts of the body. Now, remember when I explained the other day why Glenn was growing? I said that all the parts of the body consisted of millions of tiny cells that were rapidly and uncontrollably multiplying.
Yes.
Well, today we've learned that this theory does not apply to Glenn's heart. It is growing, but at a much slower rate. Now, the reason for this is rather technical, Carol, but to give you a simplified layman's explanation, it might be explained that since the heart is made up of a single cell for all practical purposes, instead of millions of cells like the rest of the organs of the body, it's reacting in an entirely different manner to this unknown stimulus or force that's behind this whole thing.
No wonder he's always complaining about those sharp pains in his chest. What does it mean?
Simply this, Carol. Then unless we can find a way to stop Glenn's growth very soon, his heart won't be able to carry the load any longer, and he'll die.
How soon?
Matter of days.
How will it happen?
His mind will go first, and then his heart will literally explode.
Why is this horrible thing happening? I've searched everywhere for the answer and I can't find it. All night I lie awake thinking, why? Why does it have to happen? Well, you're a doctor, tell me.
I wish I knew, Carol. I wish I knew.
I've got to make my report to Washington. Anything yet?
Nothing conclusive.
Right.
Hello, Colonel. How are you, Doctor?
We don't have time to become discouraged, Eric. We've got to find an answer quickly.
Did you tell Carol?
Yeah? She still won't leave. Well, I can't say that I blame her, but she's got to go. We can't take any more chances. Is any change in the new animals?
None. Absolutely no change of any kind. I checked their galvanic reflexes on the hour, every hour. The results are the sum total of absolutely nothing. Paul, I don't think we've got a chance. The theory is just great on paper. It just doesn't stand up under practical application.
You know, Eric, it might be better if we concentrate the experiments with the guinea pigs and the rabbits in the lab. Since time is so important, we have the advantage of their short life cycle.
Well, the small animals can't stand up to the high-frequency stimulation. Let's continue the injections with the small animals and confine the high-frequency experiments to these.
All right. Seems logical.
Everything seems logical. If you look at our giant.
Hello, Carol.
Frighten me, Glenn.
What'd you expect? Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs?
I heard you cry out in pain. I was worried about you. Tomorrow may be an important day, Glenn. Dr. Coulter's been experimenting with some animals, a theory of some kind he's been working on. And he said he'll know the results by morning.
How tall do you suppose I'll grow before death releases me from this curse? 100 feet? Maybe 1,000? Could be a mile. That'd be something, wouldn't it? Can't you imagine that, Carol?
Please, Glenn, don't torture yourself.
I wouldn't actually have to worry too much about breathing till I got about 3 miles up. The oxygen starts to thin up there.
Glenn.
I'm a lost cause, Carol. They're not going to find the answer tomorrow or any tomorrow. You just picked the wrong number. Go on, pick up your chips. Go on home.
Do you think I could leave you alone at a time like this?
You never did know when to quit, did you? Can you take a hint? I want you to get out and leave me alone. I don't want you around, do you hear?
Say whatever you wish to me, Glenn, but please, please hold on until they try everything possible. There must be a cure for it. There must be.
Suppose it stopped. So what? I stopped growing. What then? Can't you imagine what a wonderful life we'd have together? Me up here and you down.
What is it, Glenn? Please, is there anything I can do?
Yes! Get out! Leave me alone!
Manning's disappeared, Eric. We can't find him anywhere on the grounds.
But you've got to find him.
Well, Colonel Halleck, security officer for the area, is out canvassing the desert with his men.
It's my fault. I had an argument with him last night.
Well, he won't go far. Paul, I've got the answer. I've got the answer.
The answer is in the bone marrow. The bone marrow. We were so close we couldn't see it.
Yeah. Dr. Lang's work on radiation exposure. Sulfahydryl. Inject sulfahydryl compounds into the bone marrow.
Exactly. The thing that fooled us was we were looking for some unknown quantity in the plutonium radiation, while all the time it was acting to a degree the same as a hydrogen exposure. The secret was in the degree of the exposure.
Well, then injections of the sulfahydryl compound should correct the body's regenerative balance. Well, I can see where this would stop his growth, but
You do think you can save him?
it may stop his growth, but it won't diminish his size.
The stimulation of the hormone secretions in the pituitary or growth-controlling glands will take care of that.
You know, it doesn't sound practical, Eric. I don't think it'll work.
Here, take a look.
That's amazing.
It's hard to believe, but it worked. I used high-frequency stimulation of the pituitary gland, causing the hormone secretion to reverse the growth process.
First, injections of the sulfahydryl compounds into the bone marrow.
That will stop the growing.
And then stimulate the pituitary gland to reduce his size.
But do you think you'll be able to inject him with a hypodermic needle this size?
I've had an oversized needle constructed. As a matter of fact...
Doctor, I couldn't find Manning anyplace. My men covered an area of 10 square miles.
But we can't lose him now. We just can't.
Just when we have the problem licked.
Colonel, can you get us a helicopter?
We have 2 helicopters, but only 1 pilot.
All right. We'll use them to find Manning. Eric, you go with the pilot and I can fly the other one. Colonel, it's imperative that we find him as quickly as possible. We think we found a cure, but only if we get to him in time. You see anything?
No! How'd you happen to learn how to fly a helicopter?
Well, I just wanted to learn how. And did. Calling helicopter Charlie Dog. Calling helicopter Charlie Dog. This is helicopter William X-Ray. Come in.
Hello, William X-Ray. This is Charlie Dog. Over.
Eric, do you see anything? Over.
Visibility good. No sign of it. We're flying toward the Las Vegas Boulder Dam area. Go ahead.
All right, Eric. You keep in touch. Off and clear.
Calling helicopter William X-Ray. Helicopter William X-Ray. This is Charlie Dog. Come in.
This is William X-Ray. Go ahead.
We are over Boulder Dam. Everything looks normal. We're heading towards Las Vegas.
Now, we'll keep flying in this direction. It's getting late, so if you don't find them within the hour, you turn back and we'll continue tomorrow.
The distance between our position here and the location where you spotted the dead cattle, marked by the pin, is only about 50 miles. Now, he certainly can travel faster than that. He's been gone over 15 hours.
He's probably been moving back and forth in a nameless pattern. I'll never understand why someone hasn't reported seeing him.
How tall would you guess he's grown to by now?
50, maybe 55 feet. Sooner or later, someone's bound to see him. Maybe take a shot at him. Colonel, maybe we're making a mistake in not informing the civil authorities.
No, I can't do that. You know the orders.
We could use help in tracking him down.
I'm not worried about finding him. As soon as it gets light, I'll show you some action. I just hope he lasts through the night without getting into trouble. Colonel Halleck.
No reports yet, sir.
If anything comes in, no matter how trivial, if it's about the giant, call me. If I'm asleep, wake me.
Yes, sir.
Oh, and, Sergeant, place a call to the Nevada State Police. Ask them to report anything unusual. Missing cattle, broken fences, anything out of the way.
What will I give them for a reason, sir?
Think of something. Anything.
Yes, sir.
Doctor, I want to ask you a question, and I'd like a straight answer.
Well, yes.
Do you consider Manning dangerous?
If we can get to him, we can help him.
You haven't answered my question.
I truthfully don't know.
Well, I want to make something clear to you, Doctor. I've ordered up 2 more companies of men to help with the search, and I don't intend to risk casualties. If, when they find him, he shows any signs of violence, we'll have to stop him. And I mean stop him cold.
It's not a wild beast you're talking about. He's a human being.
But a potentially dangerous one, Miss Forrest. We won't hurt him unless he gives us cause.
But his mind is sick. There's no telling what he'll do or where he'll go.
He's out there somewhere, and we'll find him.
Not another drop, Alf. Not another drop as long as I live, so help me.
He should have been confined. A fence or something. Maybe chains. We had no business letting him run loose like we did.
How were we to know?
We should have known. The symptoms were there, Eric, in black and white. We were so engrossed in finding a cure, we failed to recognize the warnings.
Any word yet?
No, not a thing.
If only we can find him before it's too late. Why did I have to argue with him?
Now another one to take the blame. I'm going to bed before it's my turn.
We're taking off quite early in the morning. Is the needle and medication all set?
Since he left, but I'll double check. No.
Carol, a few days ago, I suggested that you leave. Now I'm going to insist that you leave. It's no longer safe for you. Glenn Manning is a sick man, in mind as well as body.
Dr. Lindstrom, I'm not leaving.
I've already wired Washington for permission to lift security restrictions. Now, the restrictions will probably be unnecessary by morning anyway. Someone's bound to see him.
You had no right to do a thing like that. Don't you have any heart?
You're an intelligent girl, Carol. Can't you see the futility of the situation? There's nothing more that you can do to help him. Besides, if and when we do find him, it's very likely he won't even recognize you.
Then you don't believe that you can save him.
Possibly. If we can get to him in time.
Well, I'm not leaving until I know.
Doctor, Miss Forrest, we've had 2 more reports of slaughtered cattle.
Was there anything else?
He was seen by a couple of motorists. And Manning is about 10 times the height and width of a normal man. And as closely as Dr. Lindstrom and Dr. Calder can estimate, Glenn Manning should weigh about 18,000 pounds. Now, I don't anticipate any trouble whatsoever in finding our giant. In fact, we possibly could have found him last night, after the 2 motorists reported seeing him. But since we don't know exactly what mental change may have taken place during Manning's continued growth, I thought it best to wait until daylight. Therefore, our greatest problem is not in finding him, But what to do with him after he's found? Dr. Lindstrom will brief you on that.
Now, naturally, we're not certain that it'll work. But the success or failure of the treatment may very well depend on how soon we're able to administer it. Under Colonel Halleck's command, you men will be in charge of the search patrols. Now, as soon as he's found, Dr. Calder and I will fly to him in a helicopter and take over from there. Colonel?
As you know, this is our position here. Slaughtered cattle have been found here, 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 and here. The two motorists reported seeing him at this point here on Highway 93. And from the way he's been zigzagging back and forth, we can assume that Manning is somewhere here in the southern tip of Nevada. And we're going to cover every inch of it until we find him. Now, here's the procedure of operation. 6 observation planes were sent up from the Victorville Air Base and are now searching from the air. They will be in radio contact with me at all times. Captain Hamilton, you will divide your company into units of 25 men. And starting from our position here, you will fan them out in an arc of 180 degrees and head east. Captain Fraser, you will also divide your company into units of 25 men. Trucks will take them to the place where Highway 91 crosses the border of Nevada and Arizona. You will then fan them out in an arc of 180 degrees and head westward. I will accompany one of your units. Are there any questions?
Sir, what do we do when we spot him?
Each unit will be equipped with a radio. Now, when you see him, report to me immediately. I will relay the information to the helicopter of Dr. Lindstrom and Major Coulter, and they will rush to the spot to medically treat him. And now a word of warning. You are not to advance any closer to the giant than 50 feet. Your men will be well armed, but you are not to fire, except in the case of self-defense. Remember, stay away from him. The giant is potentially dangerous. All right, dismissed.
Was such a large hypodermic needle necessary?
I think so. Remember, he's over 60 feet tall. Otherwise, we might have to make more than one shot.
And so the Chamber of Commerce has decided to increase the annual advertising budget here in Las Vegas. Well, it looks like the FSOOE, that stands for Flying Saucer Observers of Earth, have a competitor in the Seeing Strange Things department. And this time it's right here in Nevada. Now, it seems that 2 motorists driving south on Highway 93 barely missed a collision with, now get this, a 60-foot giant. What have you got to top that one?
Calling Ground Unit 3.
This is Observation Plane King Nancy. Over.
Observation Plane King Nancy. This is Ground Unit 3. Go ahead.
I see him, sir. I see the giant. He's just outside of Las Vegas and is moving toward the resort hotel section. Over.
Ground Unit 3, this is Helicopter William X-Ray. I heard the report, Colonel Halleck. We're changing our course. Should arrive in Las Vegas in about 40 minutes, off and clear.
Observation Plane King Nancy, this is Ground Unit 3, Colonel Halleck speaking. Are you still flying over Las Vegas? Over.
Roger. I can see the giant moving along the strip.
Land your plane at once and contact the local police. Tell him not to attack or fire on the giant unless he becomes violent. Tell him to keep away from him. We are north of Boulder Dam and should be in Las Vegas within 40 minutes. Off and clear.
What seemed like a joke or a prank but a few hours ago has now become a reality. A reality in a king-size package over 60 feet tall. Police Chief Benson has asked me to tell you to stay in your homes. Stay in your homes. The Army is rushing 2 doctors to Las Vegas by way of helicopter. They apparently know what to do with the giant. What I'd like to know is, where did he come from?
We'll be in Las Vegas in about 30 minutes.
Paul, there's one thing we didn't give much thought to.
What's that?
Just how much of a job it's going to be to give him this shot. Think he's going to stand there and let us do it?
You know what the orders are. The Army's not to shoot unless necessary. You're gonna let that monster run around loose? I don't care what the Army says. I say shoot him.
Here comes the giant!
You're making a mistake, Thomas. Are you going to stand by and let him destroy property?
Keep moving. Keep moving. Keep moving.
To pick up some of the action and excitement through our window. We can't see him, but from the panic out there on the street, he must be... Wait a minute. Here he is! A 60-foot giant in the streets of Las Vegas. Look at the size of that man.
Las Vegas, Colonel Halleck. We can see him down there. He's leaving the city, heading toward Boulder Dam.
We are nearing the Arizona side of Boulder Dam. We'll cut him off when he tries to cross. Over.
He's just ahead of us, Colonel. We'll try to stop him before he reaches the dam.
Right. Over and out.
Eric, get the needle ready. We're setting down here.
Glenn Manning, do you recognize us? We do not wish to harm you. We want to help you. We want to help you to get well. Do you understand? I'm Dr. Lindstrom. That's Major Coulter. And this is Carol, your fiancée. Do you understand, Glenn? We can help you.
Okay, Eric. Let's go. Drive it in hard. We have to penetrate the bone in the first injection. I doubt if we'll get a second chance.
You ready? 1, 2, 3.
Look out, he's breathing down!
All right, we'll take our position here.
Colonel Halleck!
Bazooka forward! Stand ready to fire!
He's got the girl, Halleck! Don't shoot! Keep your man back! He's dangerous! He killed Major Coulter! Glenn Manning, you must put the girl down! Put the girl down! You're holding Carol in your hand! Do you understand, Glenn? The girl is Carol!
I'm Carol, Glenn. Please put me down.
Put her down! Put the girl down!
Ready? Fire!
All right, I'll admit I've seen better. I've seen worse, and I've seen better. I mean, if you've been watching Mad Monster Cinema for any amount of time, You know that most of the stuff I show is just nothing but pure shit. At least I'm honest. But this wasn't so bad. Now, before we go into the next film, of course, there's going to be a short intermission. You know, I want to tell you something, though. I've heard that this drive-in is haunted. Yes, they found 2 skeletons here. And they took it down to the police station, and the forensic experts looked at them and said that they died right here at the drive-in. They feel that they probably came here to see closed for the season. Yeah, my jokes don't get any better. I know. All right, let's go take a station break. When we come back, we'll watch some intermission fun things, and then we'll head into our second feature of the night, Fiend Without a Face.
It's intermission time. Time to visit our concession stand.
Oh my God!
before. Couldn't look you in the eye. You're just like an angel. Your skin makes me cry. You float like a feather in a beautiful world. You're so fucking special. I wish I were special, but I'm a creep. I'm a weirdo. What the hell am I doing here? Oh, I don't belong here. I don't care if it hurts. I wanna have control. I want a perfect body. I want a perfect soul. I want you to notice when I'm not around. You're so fucking special. I wish I were special, but I'm a creep. I'm a weirdo. What the hell am I doing here? Oh, I don't belong here. Oh, she's running out the door. She's running. She's running. Whatever makes you happy, whatever you want, you're so fucking special. I wish I were special, but I'm a creep. I'm a weirdo. What the hell am I doing here? Oh, I don't belong here. I don't belong here.
And now, on with the show.
bait comes from. Okay, I'll see you later. Bye.
You ever think of trying sleep instead of Benzedrine? You know, you might like it.
Brother, I've had some tough nuts to crack in my time. Thanks. Nothing like this. And to top it off, this guy's going to get himself killed right outside the base.
If he was killed.
What do you mean?
Well, he could have died from natural causes, you know.
Switch coming from a base security man. You fellows are usually suspicious of everything.
Okay. Here's the sentry's report. And, this just came in from the FBI. It's what they have on the dead man Grizel.
Yeah? Jacques Grizel, 35, French-Canadian, graduate of Toronto University, specialized in scientific farming, good war record, born in Toronto and went north for farming after the war. Has sister Barbara, age 24, living on the farm with him.
Well, both the Grizels got a clean slate. There's nothing suspicious about them.
Yeah? What was Grizel doing in the woods at 3 o'clock in the morning? Farming?
Cigarette?
No, thanks.
But what are you going to do now? Get yourself all involved in this business? Let the local authorities figure it out, Jeff.
Well, the colonel doesn't think it's that easy, and neither do I. Besides, who can forget the look on that dead man's face?
Well, there's probably some simple explanation.
I don't know. Maybe Doc Warren has the answer. He should be finished with the autopsy by now. Let's go on over.
Okay.
Morning, Doc.
Morning, Jeff. Al.
Hi, Doc.
I've just been trying to get you.
Well, what's the story?
Sit down. I wasn't able to perform your autopsy.
Why not?
Because the Mayor of Winthrop and a local doctor named Bradley, who's the coroner, too, came up and claimed the body this morning.
Why didn't you call me?
The mayor had already talked to the colonel.
That's ridiculous.
Well, what's the difference? They've got the body, so it's finished.
Finished? Yeah, I wouldn't bet on it. They'll probably blame the death on our atomic reactors.
It's his fear of radioactive fallout.
We're not exploding atom bombs. We're just using atomic power for our radar experiments.
Sure, go out and tell him that. You know we're 1,000 miles from the nearest decent-sized city?
What a bunch of backward people. They've blamed us for too little rain, too much rain. The blight, the beetle, even Mrs. O'Leary's ailing cow.
That's why we have to have an autopsy, so we can prove that death wasn't caused by radiation.
Well, the coroner said it was heart failure. That ought to do it. He's one of them.
Well, you can't figure their minds, though.
Excuse me, sir. Colonel Butler phoned to ask the major to report to his office right away.
All right, Mr. Mayor, if that's the way it is. No sense in asking you again, is there?
No, sir. There'll be no autopsy.
Come in. Oh, Major Cummings.
Is that for me, sir?
Yes, Major. I'd like to introduce Miss Barbara Grizel and Mayor Hawkins. Major Cummings.
How do you do?
Major?
If you don't mind, Colonel, I've made up my mind. It's all settled.
Just this one point. You know that our governments, Canada and the USA, have set up this base as a joint protection for our people.
We know that. And we've told you that we feel that the refusal of an autopsy, sorry, Miss Grizel, refusing to do it won't disrupt the effort.
Miss Grizel, Mayor Hawkins, I'm no parlor diplomat. I'm an army man. I'm straightforward, maybe even blunt. But I'm afraid I must use stronger methods of persuasion. You recognize this, Miss Grizel? It's your brother's notebook. He's made some very interesting notations. Major, take a look at this page here. What's it look like to you?
There's a timetable schedule.
You note the times indicated in each line? What is it?
The schedule of our takeoffs and landings.
That's enough to give me what I want, Miss Grizel.
May I have a look at that notebook?
Give it to her, Major.
This schedule is a list of your takeoff and landings. Our herd's milk had fallen off in cream content. And my brother felt it was due to the jets flying overhead. That's why he was gathering this information. If you notice in the following pages, here's what it says. Helen, less nervous today. Quality low. Diane, apathetic. Quality poor. Mabel, very pert, general improvement. And so on with the other members of the herd. This was a daily reaction of each cow.
Perhaps the colonel can tell us what he thought the items referred to?
I guess that's all we have to discuss. Thank you for coming. You know, the Colonel's a nice guy, really, but, well, he does have his problems.
You don't have to apologize for him.
I'm not. It's just that he has a job to do. A difficult one under the circumstances.
Please, I'd rather not discuss it.
Okay. I was only trying to...
Trying to what?
Oh, I don't know. I guess I was looking for a way to say well, I understand what you've been through.
Do you?
What the heck? I'm human. We're all human here. We're not monsters from outer space.
Well, thanks.
What for?
Oh, for the lift and the words of comfort.
I wish I could do more.
I've no hard feelings if that's what you're thinking.
Well, I was, but not anymore. So long.
Control ready, sir.
Green Dog, this is Pyramid. Are you ready for Test Baker? Over.
This is Green Dog. This is Green Dog. We're circling quite easily at 40,000 feet. Standing by for Test Baker. Over.
Okay, Green Dog, commence Test Baker. Commence Test Baker. Over. Try starting out on the 500-mile range. Set for the 500-mile range, Sergeant.
Master scope set at 500-mile range. Generator set. Position 6 Charlie.
Start scanning, normal speed.
Scanning, normal speed.
Increase scanning speed, 20 RPMs.
Scanning now, 20 RPMs.
Increase range to 1,000 miles.
Range increase to 1,000 miles, sir.
Steady on your sensitive, control number 3.
Right, sir.
Increase range to 1,500 miles.
Range increasing to 1,500 miles, sir.
Hold it steady now, Sergeant.
Right, sir.
Okay, Sergeant. Increase to 2,000 miles.
Increasing range to 2,000 miles, sir. Range increase to 2,000.
Look, sir. Siberia. Increase range to 2,500 miles.
Range increase to 2,500, sir.
If we can keep this equipment working right, we can watch those Russians 24 hours a day right in their own backyard. We can spot any plane, any missile, anything that's airborne.
Image is fading, sir.
There it goes again. Same trouble. Well, Green Dog, this is Pyramid. Check your equipment. Our image is fading. Repeat, check your equipment. Our image is fading. Over.
This is Green Dog. This is Green Dog. Our equipment is working okay. Over.
Signal's going on okay from here, sir. There's no drop in power.
Must be some interference again. There's no other answer.
We'll try increasing the power.
Well, sir, we're pushing the atomic plant as much as we can now.
We've got to lick this power fade. Tell them to pour it on.
Peterson. Well, Pete, this is Cummings, Master Control. We want you to give us everything you've got.
But, Jeff, we've already exceeded the design limits. Every time you take a test, you ask for more power. If I take any more of those rods out, the reactor's liable to get out of control.
We'll take some more out. We'll have to risk it. We've got to have more power.
Okay, it's your funeral.
Mine too, probably. Remove 10 more rods from reactor number 3. Yeah, I know, but it's an order.
Power's been boosted, sir, but still can't increase image further.
And it doesn't matter how much we boost the transmitter power, it doesn't reach the plane. You know, it's almost as if the power were being drained off.
Well, we'll just have to keep working on it.
Yeah, and in the meantime, what new excuse do I give the Pentagon?
This is Green Dog. This is Green Dog. Standing by for instructions. Over.
Okay, Green Dog. Okay, Green Dog. Test Baker is completed. Return to base. Repeat. Test Baker is completed. Return to base. Over.
Roger and out.
Okay, Sergeant. Let's close shop.
Jacques Grizel's sum of good overshadows the other. What is he marked up in the ledger for good as against the ledger for bad? He was a good, generous man. His spirit of service. And now we consecrate the worldly remains of our beloved Jacques to the good earth from whence he sprang. Closer and closer.
Thank goodness the cows are getting used to them.
Aye. Are we eating soon?
It'll be ready in a minute. I just want to feed the chickens first.
What is it? What happened? Amelia!
Can I see you home, Barbara?
No, thank you, Mayor. I think I better go back with Professor Walker and keep my mind occupied.
You sure you want to? My work can wait, you know.
Say, Mayor! There, Ben Adams and his wife are dead, same as young Griselle. Where? Up at the farm.
At the edge of the air base.
But, Mayor Hawkins, you're taking a great deal for granted. There is absolutely no evidence pointing to radioactive fallout or radioactive contamination of any kind. Yes, we'll do everything we can, I assure you. Yes. Yes. Goodbye. In addition to our headaches with the Pentagon, we're now being accused of killing off the people in this town.
Perhaps they'd cooperate, sir, if we could explain more about our anti-missile program. I mean, not the secret stuff.
You know that's impossible, Jeff. Come in.
It'll be rough if the town turns against us.
Sir, we began a complete investigation of the Adams farm, but the local constable, a man named Gibbons, told us to get off the place. Said it came under his jurisdiction and we had no business being there.
What kind of cooperation do you call that?
Well, they're nervous, upset. We've got to find out how those people died.
Well, suppose you get hold of the Adams relatives. See if you can persuade them to let us do an autopsy.
Yes, sir, I'll try.
Reassure them. Promise them anything. But get hold of those bodies.
I made a complete autopsy on both cases. Called Dr. Bradley in to check my findings, and our opinions concur. It's fantastic. On the examination of the skull of Mr. Adams, I noticed two small holes in the base of the occipital region here. They penetrated to the medulla oblongata where the spinal cord meets the brain. I opened the skull to investigate and found this.
The brain, it's gone.
Yes. Sucked out like an egg through those two holes. That's not all. The entire spinal cord is missing.
But it's incredible.
It's as if some mental vampire were at work.
Where's the brain and spinal cord gone?
I'm a doctor, Colonel, not a detective. There's nothing like this in the books. Major Cummings had the best explanation so far. Mental vampire.
That's rubbish. Possibly some animal.
Colonel, I've lived in these backwoods all my life. And I can assure you there's no animal in these parts or anywhere else for that matter that could do that.
Maybe that guy Gibbons was right about the supernatural.
Well, whatever the explanation, we'll find it. We must find it. In the meantime, Doctor, I trust I can rely on your discretion.
Not to tell the mayor or the townspeople. Of course, I've got an overworked practice as it is, Colonel.
Thank you. Dr. Warren, I want you to get on the phone. Consult the top medical specialists, wherever they are. Yes, sir. Captain, contact the best authorities. Tell them what the problem is. Find out what they have to say about it. Jeff, the townsfolk know you. Talk to them. Check on anything that seems to be extraordinary, no matter what it is. Hello? Anybody home? Miss Grizel? Miss Grizel, Great. Look, Miss Grizel, I'm sorry for, barging in like that, but, well, I knocked and there was no answer, and the door was open, so I...
Make yourself at home, Major. I'll be out in a minute.
Thank you.
Found something interesting?
Oh, I was just, glancing around.
That's all right. Professor Woolgate was preparing these for publication anyway.
Oh, you correlating his material?
I do most of it. He dictates on this. I edit the tapes and prepare the draft manuscripts.
Some job.
But interesting.
The professor must be quite a guy. Thought control, cybernetics, all that stuff.
That's only half of it.
It's strange, isn't it? Finding a man like that here in Winthrop.
In these uncivilized backwoods, I think you were going to say.
Well, I'm afraid so.
Well, the explanation is quite a simple one. Professor Woolgate had a stroke about 5 years ago. He's retired now.
Well, he still works.
And at odd hours.
Odd hours?
He thinks nothing of starting work at 11 at night and working until the small hours of the morning.
You know, the mayor mentioned that Woolgate was an authority on psychic phenomena. Is that still a hobby of his?
I don't know. If it is, he'll have Dr. Bradley after him. Dr. Bradley said no more overwork or excitement.
What about you?
What do you mean?
Well, don't you ever get some time off?
Well, sometimes. Hello, Howard. Come on in. Oh, this is Major Cummings from the base.
Yeah, I know. We've met.
Well, guess I'll be running along.
Well, you've only just been here a few minutes.
Well, I was just passing on my way back to the base.
Quite a roundabout route.
The new airfield extension covers a lot of ground.
Too much for Winthrop's liking.
It must keep you pretty busy.
Yes, there's a lot to do.
I bet there is.
Come again?
You found that GI killer yet?
You know, you'd be far better off hunting him down instead of tomcatting around here.
Busty.
Cut it out, the both of you. Come on.
Sorry. I hope I didn't break anything.
I think you'd better leave, Major. You've done enough damage for one morning.
Oh, nice, Sergeant.
When you tell me you haven't known me long enough. Yeah, okay. Okay, I'll see you later. How do you like that? She says we haven't been properly introduced, and she's a nurse.
I hope we made out better with the museums and stuff.
No, not a chance. They'll think I'm crazy. How'd you make out?
Listen now, we've got work to do.
You're the guy who works after 5, remember, not me.
Now, wait a minute, this is serious. I want you to get me all the information you can on our Professor Walby. Everything he's ever written. Books, articles, everything.
Don't worry, I'll have this guy in jug by tomorrow night. So long, Mayor. All right, fellas, all right now. Let's stop this nonsense. No fancy atomic radiation caused these deaths.
What about the mayor? What killed him?
Who are you trying to fool, Gibbons? It's the atomic fallout.
Hold it, fellas, hold it! Someone murdered the mayor. The same maniac that killed Jack Grizzell, Ben Adams, and his wife.
All right, Gibbons, where is he?
If you'll shut up, I'll tell you.
Right there, let him talk.
Now, the fellow we're after is out there in the woods. Probably some air-based GI that's gone wild. Now, we can't get far if we move fast, and I say let's stop jabbering and get after him.
Right, let's get him.
All right, now, let's go. Right, fellas. Let's find this guy. sharp lookout, okay? Okay, let's go.
Excuse me, sir. This just came in from the FBI.
Walgate. Brilliant scientist, recluse, considered highly eccentric.
That old guy, Walgett. Sounds like a cross between Einstein and Robinson Crusoe, sir.
It's more interesting all the time. Okay, Sergeant, I'm going out for a while. Well, hello. Nice to see you again.
I'm very busy.
Well, I'd like to see the professor.
Oh. Yes, of course.
Thank you.
Come in. Professor Walgate, Major Cummings from the Air Base to see you.
Sorry to barge in like this, Professor.
Not at all. These days I welcome any excuse to stop work. Isn't that so, Barbara? Please take a chair, Major.
Oh, thank you. I came to see you about this business with the mayor.
Oh, terrible tragedy, really terrible.
So I need your help, Professor.
Anything you say, just name it.
Well, this is the fourth death in the space of a few days. Not only are they terrible tragedies in themselves, but they're turning the townsfolk against us at the base.
It's just ignorance, my dear fellow. These people are simple, one might say, narrow in their outlook. Of course, the very secrecy of your activities doesn't help. This development of radar boosted by atomic power.
What gave you that idea, sir?
Well, there was a piece in the Atom Journal about your work on reactors. Wasn't a year ago, and I read somewhere about the new radar patterns. Of course, this territory's ideal for that kind of work. I put 2 and 2 together.
And made 5?
So we say 4.5. But you don't have to worry, Major. What I surmise, I keep to myself.
Well, I hope so, sir.
Let me offer you a drink. Whiskey?
Yes, please. Straight.
Barbara.
No, thank you, Professor. I'll have the last chapter finished tomorrow.
That's fine. That's real progress. I've already begun on volume 2.
My mind is fairly buzzing with these strange words.
Just a few elementary ideas on the subject, Major. Not so advanced as present-day developments.
I'll try and scribe these while you talk. Excuse me.
That business of her brother, she was devoted to him.
Yes, it was a tough break.
I don't want to seem morbid, but did you see his face after he died?
Yes.
What was it like? I have a reason for asking.
Well, it was an expression of complete horror. Fright. Almost insane, I guess.
What is it? Did you get him? What kid? Okay, fellas, okay.
What is him?
No, just a false alarm, that's all.
As you said yourself, sir, the people here are simple and superstitious. And maybe they're not so wrong after all.
What do you mean?
Not the supernatural, Something unreal, something never seen by anyone before?
I can't accept that. I've always disproved such theories.
What is it then?
Nothing supernatural, I'm sure. I can't believe that. I'm a scientist.
You made a study of psychic phenomena, haven't you?
I tell you, it can't be that. It can't be.
Professor, you know what Dr. Bradley said. Was it absolutely necessary to upset the professor?
It's nothing, Barbara. The Major and I were just having a quiet talk. I got dizzy.
Well, your quiet little talk is over, Major. First Howard Gibbons, now the professor. Do you have to go around making trouble?
You really believe that, don't you?
Well, I can believe my eyes.
I'm sorry, Professor. I didn't mean to disturb you.
No, not at all. Forgive me if I don't rise.
Yes, certainly. Excuse me.
It's me, it's Burke!
Have you finished searching the quarry yet?
Yeah, the men are tired. They want to go home.
But they can't quit now. We've almost reached the air base.
Well, you better tell them they won't listen to me.
Okay, fellas, you spread out again. We'll join up at the Adams fence. Say, you hear something?
Yeah. Funny sound.
You take that path and I'll take this one. If you see anything, shout.
You said not to let each other out of sight.
These paths run almost parallel to each other. We'll meet up a ways anyway.
The dawn's beginning to come up. Wait a little. We'll see better then.
Oh, we're close to there now. Come on, boy. Go on, fella. You take that one.
Gibbons! Gibbons! Where are you? Gibbons! Where the heck are you? Gibbons! Gibbons! Gibbons, where are you? Gibbons! Gibbons! Gibbons!
I think you should go home, Mrs. Gibbons.
No, I'm all right, Doctor. I'll wait here for my boy.
Don't worry, we'll find him.
Oh, where's Howard? Where is he?
We've searched everywhere.
Yeah, he just disappeared.
Oh, I don't believe it. He must be there. I'm going to look for him myself.
You can't go in the woods alone.
Oh, but I got to find him. I've got to find my boy.
Oh, you'd better see that she gets home. Get your wife to look after her. Have you searched the woods thoroughly?
We kept calling for him. If Gibbons is out there and still alive, he would have heard us.
No point in searching anymore. I reckon we ought to call a council meeting and decide what we're going to do.
Yeah, what about it, Bradley?
Well, let's get Melville. He's the deputy mayor. Suppose it's up to him.
Good evening. Everyone quiet, please. Now you all know why we're here. We've had 4 deaths, and now our constable has disappeared. The cause of these deaths is still unknown. Everybody seems to have their own ideas, and they all seem connected with the new air base.
Now you're talking.
For this reason, I've asked Major Cummings to this meeting. He's going to help us in any way he possibly can. That goes for his commanding officer, Colonel Butler, who is very concerned about what's happened.
Cut out the soft soap, Melville. Let's get down to brass tacks.
All I know is, before this air base came here, we were doing fine. Now you and these Air Force fellows tell us that it's not radiation at all. Well, maybe you're right at that. I don't know. But forgetting about the deaths, how do you explain the change in quality of the cow's milk, even the quantity? Let the Major tell me about that.
Go ahead, Major.
Well, no one can make anyone believe something if they don't want to believe it. But it has been positively proven that there is no radiation affecting anyone in Winthrop. Not even the cows. As for the milk, I don't know enough about farming, but I would assume...
Rizal did. He knew his business.
And so do I. It was the noise of the jets that did it, nothing more. It frightened the herd. But I can tell you that the herd is normal again. They've got used to it.
Thank you. As for the deaths, gentlemen, we are equally at a loss to give an answer, and equally disturbed. Now, there's been some talk of a mad GI on the prowl. Well, this, I can assure you, is not true. We've checked and rechecked our personnel. We know how you feel. And we're trying to protect our countries from a guided missile attack. If you would only help us instead of fighting us.
It's all a waste of time.
Let's get rid of the base. We had no trouble before they came here. We'll have no trouble after they leave.
I think that's rather foolish,
Gibbons!
It was terrible, Jeff. What could have happened to him?
I don't know.
Would you like a drink?
No, thanks. Barbara, I think Professor Walgate is involved in these deaths.
I don't understand.
Neither do I. Maybe it's just a hunch, but his background, his training.
Oh, Jeff.
Look, Barbara, I've checked on Walgate. This research of his, somehow I think it ties in with what's happened here in Winthrop.
Oh, that's crazy.
Is it? Mind if I borrow this?
Where are you going?
I'd like to take a look at your cemetery.
Any word yet from Major Cummings?
Not a thing yet, sir.
Well, keep trying.
Hello?
Hello, Miss Griselle. This is Captain Chester. I've been trying to locate Major Cummings.
Well, he got here about 7:30.
Did he say where he was going?
Yes, he borrowed a flashlight from me and said something about going to the cemetery.
Look, I don't like the sound of all this. You wait there. I'll be over right away. Are you sure this is the place?
Oh, this is the place, all right. Hey, listen.
Huh?
Listen.
I don't hear anything. Now, wait a minute. Oh, this way. There's someone inside, all right? It's jammed here. Hold this.
Oh, Harry. Come on.
Hold the flashlight closer. There. It's coming. Here he is.
Jeff. Jeff.
There's no air in here. Keep the door open. You'll be all right. Now just relax.
Jeff, it's me, Barbara. Are you all right?
Barbara.
Yeah, you're not dreaming, buddy. It's Barbara.
We're locked in. No air.
Take it easy now. Come on, let's get going. We'll get you back to the base.
Well, I gotta see Walkie.
Well, no shape to see anybody.
I've got to see Walkie.
Come in.
Good evening.
Major Cummings. For Barbara.
It's very late. I hope you don't mind, sir.
Oh, on the contrary, I'm glad to see you. Sit down, won't you?
We missed you at the town council meeting.
I saw Gibbons afterwards. His mind was gone completely mad. It's dreadful.
I was hoping maybe you could help us, sir.
Me? How could I help you?
You're an atomic expert.
Who told you that?
Our files in Washington.
Have you been checking on me?
Yes.
Oh.
Yeah, would you care for a cigarette, Professor?
No, thanks. I'm attached to my pipe.
Professor, I read one of your books on the materialization of thought. Now, you denied that it was possible, but the thought was intriguing. Yes, if it could be done, why, man could create power by thought. He could will a door to open. He could perform useful work without moving from his chair. Practically anything.
I said it was impossible, didn't I?
Is it? Perhaps with atomic power it could be done.
Oh, please, I'm tired and sick. Stop badgering me, please.
I will if you'll answer me a few questions.
Jeff.
I'm sorry, but I've got to go on. What were you doing in the cemetery tonight, Professor? Were you, looking for this?
I didn't mean to shut you in, close the door on you. I was frightened when I heard you. I only wanted time to get away. I only realized later that you might be shut, trapped. I called Barbara, but
If she hadn't rescued me, I wouldn't be alive.
Jeff.
What were you doing there, Professor?
I had to examine the mayor's body. I had to find out the truth.
What was that?
Professor, what's wrong?
Professor, what's the matter?
Yeah, sit down.
Professor, can you hear me?
It's a terrible story. Shut down your atomic plant. Radar.
Call Dr. Bradley right away. I'm going back to the base.
Jeff, be careful. I'm afraid.
I'll be back right away. If I try that again, we'll have more time.
But the thing's fantastic. You can't shut down a whole atomic power plant on such a wild theory.
Well, you can't deny the facts, sir. Griselle, the Adams couple, the mayor. They all died a few minutes after the peak of our radar test, right after our atomic plant was operating under full power.
But it'll take months to get the plant operating again.
Well, it's better than risking any more lives or madmen like Gibbons.
Okay. Let's put it on ice.
How soon you'll be ready, Pete? We'll shut her down in 5 minutes.
The rod's all smashed.
What happened?
I don't know. We just found them all broken.
We'll never be able to shut her down now. What about spares? You know how we put this place together, Jeff. We've no extras of anything. Well, there must be some way of controlling the reaction.
Well, the rods, we don't stand a chance.
The nearest supply would be at the Hanford Works in the Columbia River. How soon can we get a shipment float in here?
4 to 6 hours if you phone right now.
Get me the Hanford Works on the Columbia River right away.
Well, Doc, how is he?
Oh, there's no question. It's another attack a little more serious than the last.
He'll be all right.
Oh, sure. She gets plenty of rest. Call me if there's any change. For goodness sake, get somebody out here to stay with you.
Jeff, Major Cummings said he'll be back soon.
Jeff, Major Cummings.
Obviously, those rods were destroyed. How and for what reason, we don't know. But we do know that we're in trouble up here. Serious trouble. Hello. Yes, put her through. It's for you, Jeff. Barbara Griselle.
Thank you. Hello, Barbara. Okay, good. We'll be right over. Right, bye. Walgate's regained consciousness. I think we better get over there right away, sir.
Right.
Now, we better get some sidearms.
Check. Casper, get hold of Dr. Bradley in Melville right away. Have him meet us at Walgate's house.
I shall feel better after I've told you everything. Maybe you can help me to clear up this ghastly business. But no matter what you do to me, remember those horrible deaths were beyond my control.
Go on, Professor.
For many years now, I have been working on a theory of thought materialization. The entire apparatus to give it the required boost is in my laboratory.
Laboratory? Didn't know you had one.
There were many things you didn't know, my child. If you had, you'd never have come here again. You can see it later. I knew I could never succeed on the principles of telepathy. I needed to stimulate my brain to the extent that I could detach thought from my conscious to give it a separate entity of its own. I concentrated on the simplest experiment, to turn the page of a book. I designed an instrument to create a sudden and powerful electrical boost to help me free my thought. But each application of the electric charge created a shock almost equal to electrocution. It made me ill. Dr. Bradley diagnosed exhaustion. He thought my illness was caused by overwork in getting my papers ready for publication. He introduced me to Barbara Griselle. With Barbara as my secretary, I was able to satisfy my publisher and continue my experiments to materialize thought. For a long time, I persisted in this one experiment without success, until one night. The lightning in striking the house gave my instruments a sudden violent charge of power. And my thought was free. Free to turn the page of a book. I altered the design of my equipment to generate these violent power boosts. But it was very dangerous, and I could only undergo each experiment after a long period of rest. Whenever I felt well enough to absorb the shock, I found no difficulty in moving small objects. Eventually, I developed a certain tolerance to the high voltages I used. But what I really needed for regular experiments was a new form of power. Something that was smoother, something that would flow through my brain without causing collapse. The new atomic plant at the air base provided me with this power. I devised additional apparatus that enabled me to divert a portion of the atomic power that was radiating between the ground station and the radar aircraft circling 40,000 feet above. It was power which I could control, and I learned how to amplify my thoughts without hurting myself. I was able to detach my thoughts and allow them to work on their own. I began to devise a being into which the thought, once released, could enter and preserve itself for all humanity. I envisaged something akin to the human brain, with life and mobility, but without the limitations of man's body. I concentrated my entire thought on its creation. I succeeded, but like thought itself, it was invisible. That night I entered my laboratory to take advantage of a radar test, only to find the place in shambles. My equipment wrecked beyond repair. All of my notes about its creation and how I thought it could be controlled were destroyed. I knew now that I had created a fiend. There was no other explanation. I was helpless, but whom could I tell? Who would believe such a fantastic story? I could sense the presence of the fiend, there in the room with me, growing more powerful with each succeeding day. My one desire was to destroy the thing, but I possessed no means of projecting my thought to do so. Then I could hear it. Was it possible that there were more than one? I was unable to stop them. They were now drawing power from the atomic station. Its intelligence had expanded. It now knew how to make its escape. And then followed these horrible deaths and Gibbon's madness. I had to know what I had done. I had to see one of the bodies. I went to the mayor's tomb. I now know that I have created a mental vampire, a fiend that needs to drain the intellect to survive and multiply.
I'll get it.
Supposing you're right, Professor, how does it live?
How else but in the brains and nerve centers removed from these dead people?
Then where are they and why can't we see them? This is nonsense.
We're facing a new form of life that nobody understands. I believe it feeds on the radiation from your atomic plant, and that it's evil.
Professor, it's my opinion that the evil's all in your mind. You're in need of medical assistance. Oh, Doctor, I'm glad to see you're here. This man's become a raving lunatic.
Hey, what's going on out there? Hey, look!
Hello. Hello! Professor, what's wrong with your telephone?
Nothing should be the matter unless they've got enough intelligence to cut the lines.
Jeff, I want you to get over to the airbase. I want emergency patrols.
He's dead.
Now, give me a hand with this. Hey, quick, barricade that window.
Professor, we got anything we can nail across that window?
There's some lumber in my laboratory. I've got to get out of this.
Pull yourself together and help me with this. What if he's on the door? Oh, never mind.
them. We know what to do.
Is there any way to make them visible?
Not that I know, unless it's a question of the amount of atomic radiation that's available.
Hello, Casper? Casper, I want to talk to the Colonel. Hello? Hello, Casper, are you there? Hello? Hello?
I've got to get out of here, I tell you.
No. Melville, get a grip on yourself. Get a hold of yourself.
Why are they so quiet? Maybe they're going to leave us alone.
I doubt it. But they've just put out a burst of energy. Perhaps they need to rest. Colonel Butler.
Yes?
How long does it take to shut down your atomic plant?
Why?
If my theory is right, then without the radiation of which I was speaking, these things must die.
Good grief. What is it? What do you see? Let me through! Hey, Jeff, Professor, they're becoming visible.
Someone or something must have increased the power at the atomic plant. What have I unleashed?
Ghastly, it's horrible.
Oh, you can say that again.
It all ties up with what Dr. Warren explained to us, sir. Look carefully. I'll get those sidearms.
I'm sure it's the atomic plant. So long as it goes on, they will multiply, getting stronger and stronger.
Yeah, well, we'll see about that.
Well, anyway, they're mortal.
He's dead.
We've got to stop him.
There's only one way: shut down your atomic plant. Unless we shut off the radiation, we'll all be destroyed, and heaven knows how many others.
Well, sir, there's a dynamite shed between here and the plant. If I can get through, I can blow up the control room.
Well, if that's the way it's got to be.
I'm afraid it is.
Jeff! Must it be you, Jeff?
Yeah, I know the control room layout. They don't.
Be careful, Jeff, please.
Yeah, and be sure to lock this door.
He can't go alone. He won't last a minute amongst those fiends.
It's too late, Professor. Anyway, somebody had to get through.
Then cover him as he leaves the house. And shoot straight, don't waste a shot.
You see him?
No, not yet.
It's suicide.
By my creation, perhaps I can control them. Give Jeff a chance. Lock it after me.
No.
That was a brave man.
But Jeff, what's going to happen to Jeff?
Take it easy now. I know that guy. If anybody can get through, he can.
It's been so long since Jeff left.
Don't even think about it. It's so quiet. I wonder what they're up to.
Colonel, we're almost out of ammunition.
Well, Captain, let's get started. Doc, I'll send you some help over as soon as I get over to the air base.
Thanks, Colonel.
What about Jeff? He's been gone for hours. Jeff! I thought that...
It's okay, honey. It's all over.
Well, Major, I'm leaving you in charge. Report back when you have the situation well in hand.
Good luck, Jeff.
Thanks, boy. Well, Doc, I hope now that we got this thing licked, you'll encourage your people to cooperate with us.
Well, I reckon we owe it to you, Major. And it strikes me you are setting a very good example.
Oh, is it over? Yeah, wasn't that exciting? It was great. It was wonderful. Yeah, I nodded off just about the time the brains started to come into the house. And that was kind of cool, though. You know, usually you have a monster, and that monster don't have a brain. Except in this one, you had the brain, but no monster. All right, there's my clock. You know what that means. It's time for me to crawl back into my celluloid cell. Good night, my little wicked ones. And as always, nighty fright.